What is up, guys? It's your girl, Chick Cactus, and today
We have some breaking Destiny 2 news that you absolutely want to know about. Now, it's been an absolute whirlwind over the past couple days. Yesterday, Bungie released the official Witch Queen Vidoc, revealing so much information. But not only that, guys, I released a video going over all the information I learned in an early access Witch Queen preview event. So definitely, if you haven't watched that, check it out. It's linked up above. But today, kind of out of nowhere, I thought Bungie would save this for the TWAB, but they just released an article going over a bunch of the Void 3.0 changes. I think within the Vidoc, when it revealed this piece of gameplay, showcasing what the Void subclasses would actually look like in the Witch Queen, and just how many fragments there actually are, and the fact that you can use like 7 different Void grenades in total, you get access to every single subclass's grenades and all of that stuff. I think people finally realize, like, whoa, this is going to be absolutely nuts, and we've got even more information on that today. Now, first off, Bungie goes over all of the different Void terminology, so the keywords that you need to identify and are going to affect multiple Void abilities, fragments, aspects, etc. Just like how slow is a keyword for stasis, and if it appears in an ability, you know what it'll do, and even when it appears on a weapon perk, like the new sword weapon perk, you know exactly what's going to happen. So first off, we have suppress. The target is taken out of any active ability when suppressed. While suppressed, the target cannot activate any abilities or movement modes. Combatants are disoriented. Then there's weaken. The target takes increased damage, has slowed movement, and is disoriented. Next up, there's volatile. The target will explode in a void detonation upon taking additional damage. If the target dies before volatile has taken enough damage to detonate, the detonation happens anyway. Then there's invisibility. The player vanishes from sight and does not appear on radar. There's overshield. The player gains a protective barrier that immediately stacks on top of their existing health and shields and intercepts incoming damage. Overshield reduces the damage taken from PvE combatants. Then lastly, there's Devour. The player is immediately restored to full health upon activating Devour from any source and is granted grenade energy. When the player gets any kill with Devour active, they are restored to full health, granted grenade energy, and their Devour buff timer is extended. Now remember, those same keywords, because they're becoming keywords, may show up on weapon perks later on, so keep that in mind. But now, guys, let's take a look at the different Void classes. Firstly, we have the Titan. So Bungie says a Void-enabled Titan is the stalwart shield of a fire team, whether serving up Ward of Dawn, protective bubbles to withstand furious enemy assaults, or charging the battlefield shield in hand, mowing down opponents, one shield toss at a time. Previously, the two supers, Ward of Dawn and Sentinel Shield, were tied to one another from a control standpoint, so that Titans had to use similar input and sit through a chunk of the Sentinel Shield activation animation before the Ward of Bubble was created. But with Void 3.0, the two functions are separated, which means that the Ward of Dawn is now instantly activated, and here's actually what that's going to look like in the Witch Queen. You can see just how fast this Titan puts up his bubble. That's insane. In addition, the Ward of Dawn has been moved to the fastest super cooldown tier, making it much more available to the Titan in need. This change means it's a much better reactionary defense tool, said designer Mike Humboldt. So as an example, if a hunter were to jump at you and cast Blade Barrage, the Titan can now pretty reliably activate your Ward of Dawn before any of the enemy supers land and survive as a result. Now, just as before, the Sentinel Shield will allow Titans to traverse the battlefield, bashing foes with their Void Shield or tossing their shield as melee attacks. Thrown shields will damage opponents and apply Volatile if Controlled Demolition is equipped, while Shield Bash kills will grant a full Overshield. So, there are going to be 3 different Titan aspects you can choose right off the get-go with Void 3.0, and remember, just like Stasis, we're likely going to get more Void aspects in the future. So the first one is Controlled Demolition. Hitting a target with a Void ability or volatile detonation will make them volatile. Then there's Bastion. Casting Barricade generates an overshield for yourself and nearby allies. Those bunkering behind the shield will regenerate overshield over time and extend the overshield's duration. In fact, we see a gameplay clip just released of what that will look like in game. Moving on from there, there is Offensive Bulwark. While you have Overshield or are inside the Ward of Dawn, grenades charge significantly faster and you have increased melee damage. You also gain an additional shield throw for your Sentinel Shield Super. But moving on, we have the Void Hunter, saying the Hunter prioritizes movement and stealth in the heat of battle, whether it's enjoying a few moments of tactical recalibration in a tense encounter by briefly vanishing after dodging an attack, or setting snares and traps to disorient and slow their opponents. A fight with a Hunter is always a study in agility, surprise, and deadly precision. And here is actually some new gameplay of a Hunter's Vanishing Step ability. So Bungie does say, in addition to the Spectral Blaze Super, the Shadow Shot variants that Hunters are accustomed to, Deadfall and Mobius Quiver, will still be found in the Void 3.0 updates, though there are some changes to be aware of. For example, Mobius Quiver will fire volleys of 3 arrows that will now track targets and make them volatile if they are tethered. In addition, with Deadfall, the Void Anchors that are dropped after Shadow Shots will now pull enemies towards it when it impacts a surface or a target. The Hunter's Snare Bomb melee ability will now weaken opponents. In PvP, players caught in a Snare Bomb will have their HUD removed and an obscuring screen effect applied for a short time. So here are the 3 aspects you can select with Void 3.0 right off the bat. Firstly, there's Trapper's Ambush. Players can activate Quickfall to spend their melee charge and dive to the ground, creating a smoke cloud upon impact. Enemies caught in the cloud are weakened and allies become invisible. In addition, Snare Bombs, upon attaching to surfaces or enemies, cause nearby allies to become invisible. Then we have Vanishing Step. Dodging makes you invisible. Then there's Stylish Executioner. Defeating a Void debuff target, so weakened, suppressed, or volatile, grants invisibility and true sight. While invisible and after a Stylish Execution, your next melee attack weakens enemies. Wow, that seems insane. And actually, guys, we have a clip here of the Hunter's Mobius Quiver and Trapper's Ambush and Stylish Executioner. And holy crap, Stylish Executioner seems insane for PvE, constantly going invisible, applying weaken effects. Like, weaken effects are the most important thing to apply. It completely controls what guns are in the meta. I mean, Particle Deconstruction is just really a weaken effect, and that's why every fusion rifle is goated right now. So really looking forward to that. However, we do need to move on from there to the Warlock. So Bungie says the infinite mysteries of the universe are the playgrounds of Warlocks. When they aren't nose deep in ancient texts, Warlocks are floating across the battlefield, healing allies and creating havoc among their foes. Void 3.0 fine-tunes these powers, and the Warlock's new aspects will, among other abilities, summon a brand new type of support from the yawning void of spacetime. So the Nova Warp Super lets Warlocks quickly teleport from one spot to the next, and players can choose to let loose a deadly void eruption. With the Vortex Super Enhancement, a player's Nova Bomb will now draw enemies into the singularity it creates, damaging them once inside. Casting a Nova Bomb with the Cataclysm Enhancement will cause it to travel across the battlefield and seek out enemies. Detonations will shatter into smaller Seeker projectiles, and shooting the Nova Bomb will cause it to detonate early. Additionally, the Warlock's melee, Pocket Singularity, fires an unstable ball of void energy that detonates when it nears enemies, pushing them away from the blast and making them volatile. According to Destiny designer Mike Humboldt, he expects this melee to find a particular use in the Crucible. We do a lot of PvP testing, and knocking someone who is trying to shotgun rush you off a map with a Pocket Singularity is always a good time. Yeah, that sounds pretty nuts. So, the aspects that the Warlocks get are firstly, Chaos Accelerant. Hold down the grenade button to overcharge your Vortex, Axion Bolt, Scatter, and Magnetic Grenades. Magnetic Grenades overcharge into handheld Supernova. Then feed the Void. Defeat an enemy with a Void ability to activate Devour. And then there's Child of the Old Gods. Cast your Rift to summon a Void Soul. When you damage an enemy with your weapon, your Void Soul will launch itself towards them and detonate nearby, attaching draining tendrils which deal damage and weaken the target. When your Void Soul deals damage, it restores either melee and grenade energy if you're running Healing Rift, or health if you're running Empowered Rift back to you. Defeating an enemy who is being drained grants Rift energy. And guys, here is some new gameplay of that Child of the Old Gods ability. And we also have some new gameplay of the Chaos Accelerant aspect. Next up, guys, Bungie gives a preview of some of the new fragments coming with Void 3.0. Remember, fragments are going to be available for all 3 of the different classes. So one is Echo of Expulsion. Void ability kills cause enemies to explode, and you gain an intellect bonus. Then there's Echo of Provision. Damaging enemies with a grenade grants melee energy, but there's a strength penalty. Then there's Echo of Domineering. After suppressing a target, gain greatly increased mobility for a short duration, and your equipped weapon is reloaded from reserves, and there's a discipline bonus. Then there's Echo of Undermining. Void grenades weaken enemies, discipline penalty. Guys, hold on a second. Please stop for a second. Echo of Undermining, guys, this is Oppressive Darkness. And Destiny veterans are going, oh my goodness, he's right. If you don't know, Oppressive Darkness was way back when, like we're talking basically years ago now, it was an artifact bonus that made Void Grenades apply a debuff, aka weaken enemies, right? Weaken makes enemies take more damage. And guys, this was unbelievably powerful in PvE. It completely shaped the meta. I remember doing, raid damage phases where the Titan would be a bubble Titan, but actually would be using, the armamentarium so that they could get 2 different grenades off during the damage phase to apply that weaken effect, right? Void Warlocks were used because they would have the vortex grenades that would constantly apply weaken during a damage phase. So gaining that ability just as a fragment, not even an aspect, is unbelievably powerful for PvE. However, guys, there's actually more fragments we know about, and that's from the gameplay provided in the Vidoc. So one of them is, as you can see here, Echo of Exchange. Melee final blows grant grenade energy. Then another one is Echo of Remnants. Your lingering grenade effects, so Vortex Grenade, Void Well, and Void Strike and Axion Bolt have increased duration. And then, guys, the last one here is Echo of Reprisal. Final blows when surrounded by combatants grant super energy. But moving on from there, Bungie says another significant change for Void 3.0 is that all subclasses will have access to all Void grenade types in the game. For example, a Hunter will be able to run with Suppressor or Magnetic grenades instead of choosing just between Void Spike, Void Wall, and Vortex. In addition, some grenades will see upgrades. For example, the Lingering Field created by Vortex grenades will now suck enemies into it. Remember how good dust field grenades are? Yeah. Also, players who have played Destiny before the Witch Queen expansion will have access to all Void 3.0 aspects and most fragments with the launch of the Witch Queen on February 22nd. Several fragments will be available after the world's first raid completion. Then new Destiny 2 players will earn their aspects and fragments as part of the new light game experience. And guys, there you have it, and holy crap, this just sounds insane. Like, for myself who makes content about builds, I am so excited for this because the build possibilities with the old layouts were just so limited. You had to choose one cluster of perks, and that was it. And you can never mix and match things. Now, you can mix and match so much, and again, I really feel like these are just the beginning of the available aspects, and we will get more down the line, and Bungie can really add more whenever they want. However, that may be a while because we know the next things coming are the season after season 16. The next season, we're going to get either Solar or Arc remade in the same vein, and then the season after, the next, whatever the last light element is going to be remade. So every single subclass in the game will be remade with aspects and fragments, giving us way more customization than we've ever had before. And so guys, that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed and found this informative. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That is linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.